Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us. That's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Dark Destinations.
These may be end times, night creature. Why would a few more casualties trouble me?
Because their blood will join yours.
A radio drama anthology.
You are wrong.
How you figure? Every merc on Mongo is hunting you down.
Not you. Your partner. He said I didn't have a ray gun.
Full cast performances set in the haunted corners of the globe.
Darkness is coming for you.
That's the fear that haunts me. Sleep! Ah!
Dark Destinations by Father Malone at weirdingwaymedia.com.
Weirding Way Media.
Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Anthologies Attack, where we peer outside the horror genre to experience anthologies in all their varied glory. And as always, helping me share the Midnight View is my co-host, he's yours too, Antonio Lapore.
Hola, Padre Malone.
Tonight is part 2 of our look at the anthology episodes of the groundbreaking Batman the Animated Series. Previously, we talked about Season 1's Almost Got 'Em. That featured 5 tales of Batman as told by the Rogues Gallery of Villains. This one's a little different. 3 tales by entirely different narrators, and the third tale is actually just their tale in the end. We are looking at Legends of the Dark Knight. This originally aired on October the 10th, 1998, written by Bob Goodman from a story by Goodman and Bruce Timm, although there are 3 previous Batman legends mentioned, as the whole episode is inspired by the works of Bill Finger, Dick Sprang, and Frank Miller. It was also directed by Dan Riva.
And it's kind of loosely based on a 70s Batman comic. And that's about Bruce Wayne, and he takes these kids camping, as billionaire philanthropists, I guess, are known to do, to take random children camping. And they are all discussing, well, what do you think Batman's like? And one little kid's, well, I think Batman is kind of like Jim Brown, the famed movie star football player, and who's decked out in all these tech gear and all this stuff. And the other guy, well, I think Batman is more like kind of a vampire character, or I think Batman looks more like what you imagine Man-Bat is. And all of a sudden, Batman shows up, and they're like, dude, Mr. Wayne, where'd you get that cheap-ass Batman costume? And he's like, well, it looks like my costume is only meant to frighten criminals and not the innocent. And then they go back to roasting marshmallows.
I kind of love that, though. I like the idea of Bruce Wayne showing, like, hey, everybody, I'm Batman, and nobody believes it.
Yeah. It was a great classic. But this episode, I remember when it dropped, I'm thinking, oh, hey, I reckon But I love this episode. It's might be my favorite of the whole series. Well, no, I love Robin's Reckoning and Heart of Ice in the original show, but of the new episodes is neat for the main reason of just the varying art styles, the way you get to see, basically the two most influential kind of mini eras of Batman, the classic Dick Sprang era from the 50s, where when you think of old-timey Batman, that's generally what people think of: giant typewriters, big smile on Batman's face. What the Adam West show ultimately was, I think, came out of basically of that Dick Sprang art era, which still Bill Finger was writing, because Bill Finger wrote it from the original detective run, and he wrote pretty much straight through up until the 60s, and then he got, forced out in favor of the younger hippie generation, like everything else.
I reread the Mankiewicz script from 1983, his version of the Batman, and it is 100% from the Bill Finger, Dick Sprang era.
It's just more serious in it.
But still, Mankiewicz just unloads with the Joker. The Joker is a Joker in this thing. He is one-liner machining the entire script.
And Mank is really good at that. I mean, he wrote Superman. Everybody, Mario Puzo's script was awful. Mario Puzo basically wrote an episode of the Batman show. And
in 400 pages of it.
400 pages of it. And I remember this whole documentary on it. Dick Donner was like, he's like, I don't want to see Superman be made a fool of. That was his mantra in the movie. We're not making Superman to be a fool in this movie. And Puzo's deal being Puzo, writing The Godfather, his deal was ironclad, and Mank was brought in as a creative consultant. But Tom Mankiewicz wrote Superman.
And my two favorite James Bond movies.
Which ones did he write?
Live and Let Die.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
And The Man with the Golden Gun.
The Man with the Golden... The best music, and the most because that disco hit with The Man with the Golden Gun, and oh man,
it's so good. It's Lulu.
Is it Lulu?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and the British pop sensation Lulu. Yeah,
absolutely.
But the craziest guy, Christopher Lee as Scaramanga,
and of course, Live and Let Die is
Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
The score of the picture is the best James Bond score out of all of the films.
You think so? The George Martin score?
This is George Martin. Was it John Barry does On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Was it John Barry? Yeah, John Barry was still.
Yeah. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is pretty good because that one's got the,
We've All the Time in the World, the Louis Armstrong song.
But Live and Let Die is just got the coolest music. It is such a dated picture, and the attitudes in it are ridiculous. But, black folks starring in a James Bond movie, that's pretty, in 1974, that's pretty progressive, even though they're the bad guys and it's ridiculous and it's silly. Those faces are still on the screen and they're breaking ground. And I gotta tell you, not Scaramanga, what's his name in
Ross Kananga.
Kananga, I guess that was the Anga phase of Bond, is really good.
Oh my God, he's my favorite Bond villain.
He is so evil and he's so arrogant and he's so ridiculous with that Mr. Big makeup. What the fuck was that?
Oh my God, I love it. He's so crazy as a character. And he's so fun. And it's Yaphet Kotto, for fuck's sake.
Yaphet Kotto
is a fucking Bond villain that nobody... The movie gets written off now because of all its problematicness.
Yeah.
And, you have a right to do that. But I think the spirit of the thing was not racist. I think the spirit of the thing was subversive. I think Mankiewicz was like, let's stick black people in everyone's faces. And yes, they're the villains in this fucking piece, but... You know what? Every Bond movie previous was all white guys.
Yeah, and anyways, they're the villains, but they're kind of anti-imperialist villains to a certain degree. There's a certain sexiness to their motivation to a certain degree. Fuck the white man. Look, we're from Haiti or from wherever the hell they were.
San Monique.
We're this, probably this British protectorate or have you that's gone through all this horrible things.
For me, the more racist thing is that there just aren't more black people in all the rest of the James Bond movies. I'm sorry that they're all villains here, but the sheer number of black faces on screen in 1973.
Yeah.
Yeehaw. Look, the thing is, the parallels between Bond and Batman are sort of fucking...
And especially in the 70s, that was a big thing for Denny O'Neil, was to Bond was cool, and he's, let's make Batman a little bit cooler. So they added that kind of international flair with Ra's al Ghul and a lot of that, and the League of Assassins and Dr. Zinzin and a couple of these international villains. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, man.
But for the most part, that 70s Batman eventually got back to Gotham City, like with that Terry Austin, Marshall Rogers art, and I think Michael Barr, I can't remember. That Sign of the Joker thing, that era kind of brought it back to Gotham, and Ra's al Ghul pops up every now and then.
Yeah, I said in the previous episode my feelings.
Yeah, you don't like Ra's al Ghul.
I mean, it's okay, I get it, but I don't want to spend any time in that.
I don't like to spend too much time with him, just a little bit. And
I just want Batman patrolling the rooftops of a gothic Gotham and like swooping down on villains, and then a villain coming to town and fucking shit up. That's all I need.
Ra's al Ghul, I think, is dead. We got Damian out of it, and that's fine. As long as because I'm a big Damian fan. On this show, it was Tim Drake, but it was a mishmash of Tim Drake and Jason Todd's origin or whatever. But I like this little kid Robin on this show a lot too.
So in the initial run of Batman the Animated Series, that's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, and Dick's 19. He's away at college, and that's why he's only in a handful of episodes.
So by the time we get to the new adventures of Batman, or Batman's new adventures, that's Tim Drake as Robin. And I know Nightwing shows up, so we get Dick Grayson as well.
Yeah, we get Nightwing. And that was the first time Nightwing had appeared anywhere outside of comics.
Have we skipped Jason Todd?
Yeah, they skipped Jason Todd. I think they did a comic book follow-up to this season a couple years ago, and, they retconned Jason Todd and Red Hood in between the Tim Drake and...
That's lame, man.
They just go make an animated movie then.
If it's not like Jason Todd. No. You know what? No matter who Robin had been at that moment, if it had been Carrie Kelly,
she would have died.
Everyone wanted Robin to die.
Everybody wanted Robin. Yeah. But, and I know a little off track, but the Jason Todd death of Robin, and if you read interviews with some of the writers and editors and stuff like Denny O'Neil, especially, like, that was kind of like his death kind of like organically happened almost. Like they had written this new character into the book, and he showed up and he was a redheaded clone of Dick Grayson, circus parents, all of that, the same origin. Killer Croc had killed his parents or something like that. And then within a year or two, the crisis happened.
The one on Infinite Earths?
The one on Infinite Earths, the same very one. The comic book series that got me into comics. Just fascinated with just like the amount of superheroes that existed. I just knew there were 7 guys in the Super Friends, and all of a sudden there was 1,000 superheroes. But anyways, that being said, they revamped everybody and rebooted comics. We'll be rebooting comics 30 years before. Yeah, 50, 100 years old. I think the first reboot was the Silver Age at DC. First you had the Golden Age. Buckethead Flash and Purple Cake Green Lantern. And then all of a sudden you got Hal Jordan and Barry Allen. That's the first kind of reboot. And then in the 80s, they rebooted again. They took their vast multiverses, squeezed them into one. Everybody got a new origin. Jason Todd was now a street orphan whose dad had been murdered by Two-Face, and Batman met him after he was boosting the wheels off the Batmobile. Tim Drake got that origin in the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Tim Drake in the comic books was Bruce Wayne's neighbor. And he was a little boy at the circus when Dick Grayson's parents died, and he figured it out. And then when the whole baby...
Well, the Bat's got to admire the kid's pluck, right?
Yeah. He's known as he's the smartest Robin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But on this show, I don't care. Doesn't matter. I like the fact that there's like an 11-year-old Robin on this show. And it's really neat.
In this episode, we get Dick Grayson and
Carrie Kelly.
Yeah, we get 3 Robins technically, don't we?
Tim
doesn't show up in the wrap
episode, but this episode is cool because, like I said, it's based on that old comic from the 70s. I can't remember what it's called.
The original comic?
Huh?
What, the original comic?
Yeah, the original.
Look it up, huh?
I got this when the movie came out, right before when the movie came. On that time, there's this fire. It had a Man-Bat over Vegas story in it. It's called, it's based kind of loosely on a Batman short story called Batman Nobody Knows, written by Frank Robbins. It was like, I'm not too familiar with this work, 70s comic author probably, and art by the famed Dick Giordano. He was like the premier inker in DC Comics from the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s. And he was a pretty good penciler too. He did a lot of Batman stuff. Stuff looks a little bit like Jim Apato's. It's that kind of traditional kind of look of Batman. And he was the publisher, the editor-in-chief too.
That's where I mainly knew him from. And then, obviously, later what marvelous talent he was.
He was just like this lovable guy, looked like Super Mario.
Yeah.
They just remember the pictures in the comic. So that's kind of loosely based on it. And as we said a little earlier, it's Bruce Wayne takes these kids camping and they all kind of give their idea of what Batman. But in this episode,
it's a little more organic.
It's a little more organic. It's 3 little kids wandering around Gotham City. And one of them looks like Carrie Kelly, actually.
That pretty much is Carrie Kelly. I'm sure her story is just her fantasy of Batman.
And they're talking, well, what do you think Batman's like? And the first kid starts talking, and he's like, well, my uncle's a security guard at the bank at the museum, and he saw Batman and Robin, and he says Batman's really nice, and he makes jokes, and he does this and that. And then also,
and we all know that.
Yes.
Because here it is.
Yes. And again, he's describing the Batman that if, you're in our neighborhood of age, the first Batman you ever saw was Adam West. And that Adam West was fun and all, smiley and all that stuff. And like I said earlier, the Adam West show took a lot from the Dick Sprang art era of Batman.
Yeah, not only did it sort of ape the style just visually, the way they decorated and the costumes and everything, but the animated opening sequence of Batman, the great tease that was the animated opening sequence, because I just wanted a cartoon to follow. That's the exact style of art they're presenting to us here. As when we go into the first tale, this is the Dick Sprang look, so you probably have some familiarity with it, even if you haven't seen this episode, if you've ever seen the Adam West cartoon. And so each of these stories, I like this one better than Almost Got Him, because here we get the different flavors of Batman and the villain.
Yeah.
But the voices even, because here they've cast Gary Owens as Batman, who is the voice of the 50s, 60s.
We got your clue about stealing laughter. The comedy is finished.
A famous line from Pagliacci, the opera about a sad clown.
And Michael McKean as the Joker.
Truth be told, strings never were my section. I'm much better on the keys.
Doing a very Jack Benny sounding Joker. I'm like, I'm like, oh, that sounds like Jack Benny.
It's Jack Benny punched up with something else.
Yeah.
Michael McKean is really good at combining voices and doing. Have you ever heard his Vincent Price?
No.
It is the greatest Vincent Price you will ever hear.
Oh, wow. I got to find that.
But I thought as soon as he started talking, I was like, oh, thank God Michael McKean is there. He'll get exactly the tone that they're shooting for, which is that sort of more whimsical Batman. They like, come on, chum.
And the Robin, it sounds like a little kid's voice. It's the same little kid who's telling the story, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It might be a separate actor.
It might be a separate actor. Okay, we'll have to Google that one. But it's got the giant typewriter in it, or the giant prop space and stuff in it, right?
Yeah. It's
the music museum. It's the piano keys.
Yes.
The giant piano keys.
It's all like the daring do and cliffhanger kind of stuff that we expected from comics up until 1985.
Yeah. But the art is really pretty, man.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Getting that old Joker with the smile that seems to be larger than his face.
And the big old cheeks. Yeah, I love it. That style kind of evolved into what a Batman and the Brave and the Bold became, which is a kid is really aimed at 7-year-olds. I know a little 8-year-old little boy who that was his first Batman and he loved it. But I watched that show and that show great, man. It's like a bananas sequel to the Adam West show almost.
That's another favorite voice there for me.
Diedrich
Bader as Batman. He's so fucking good. He's a different.
Yeah, the Hammers of Justice are unisex. Like, it's really good, but it's that kind of same Dick Sprangy art style that you see in this little bit. And it's just a neat little 3-minute short. It's just really cool. I like it a lot. I know this season there's another anthology kind of episode. There's the holiday one. But that one is just is 2 or 3 stories. It's like Harley and Ivy with Bruce Wayne, and I think something with the Joker on New Year's Eve, and then I think something with Clayface or something. But I guess it's an anthology because it's 3 separate little short stories, but it's not as interesting as this one.
No.
This one has a really cool framing device, and the framing device puts the kids in the imaginary space, and we get to see a little mini history. We get to see a Golden Age Batman with the Dick Sprang look and the old kind of classic Bill Finger dialogue. Come on, old chum, that type of stuff. And like you said, Michael McKean's Joker. What a great live action Joker he would have been.
Oh my God. I know he's so long and
that face and the eyebrows.
Right, like David St. Hubbins era Michael McKean as the Joker. If they had made the Mankiewicz script, Michael McKean would be the perfect Joker.
Is the Joker like running for mayor or Thomas Wayne?
In the opening, Thomas Wayne is running for mayor, and Joe Chill does kill him, but he does it at the behest of the Joker.
But he's already the Joker. Isn't he?
Oh, he's 100%.
He's like, there's no,
no, his opening is like a shade being drawn in a window and someone giggling in the darkness. So he's the Joker.
I read that. Wow, it hit 20-something years ago. I read like when the internet first existed. That was one of the first things I'd hunted down, like on Drew's Scriptorama or something like that. Oh man, and I remember
the transcripts drive me crazy. I don't need your transcript. I can watch the movie. I can hear what they're saying. What did they intend for the actors to say?
Exactly it. I want to see where it differs. I don't want to see the shooting draft either.
No, give me the fucking
the draft that they actually shot the movie with.
Yeah,
because Father Malone and I both have backgrounds in movie making a little bit. We know how scripts work, and we've written a few ourselves, and I've made a movie and stuff. When a movie comes out, when a movie gets made, they have the script that they're going to make the movie off of, right? And then when the movie's done, they go back and take the movie and make that into the script. So there's a script of the movie that's exactly what you see on screen. But that's not the script they used when they shot the picture.
And they published those scripts as books, as if that was the script. And
you learn how a script's supposed to work and all that stuff, but you don't see how a script actually is. That you actually make a movie. I can tell you, it's just this short film I'm making now. There's the script I got, and what the script that I have that I made in the edit.
I always thought when they published those shooting scripts that it should be printed on alternate. The actual script right before they film should be printed on alternate pages so you can just see the differences. Like he was going to say this, well, something happened on set, and now he's saying this.
But the cool thing is the Star Wars scripts, on the other hand, that I had as a kid. That I got, the annotated screenplays and copies. Those were actually the fucking scripts they made the movie off of because there are a lot of differences going on. And they're longer. Although, there's not like stuff like Blue 5 and shit. But
right.
They're pretty close, though. There's, I remember the scripts themselves were a little different. It's been a long time since I looked at those things. That's how I learned how to write scripts. I mean, I went to school.
It's the only way.
Those books. And those annotated ones are really good.
Now listen, the plot of the 50s inspired Sprang finger number is totally irrelevant. It's just a little pop confection. But I gotta ask, Antonio, when that one comes to an end, the first time you're watching it, I'm sure you were like me. Is that Carrie Kelly? Kept asking myself. Or did they just do
I know that haircut.
Tribute to Carrie Kelly? I don't know. As soon as...
But before that...
Oh, are we talking about the cameo?
Yeah, they run into another little kid who's got long, stringy, white hair, and he's got a boa wrapped around him, and he's just feeling, and he's just like...
Hey, who's talking about Batman? I love Batman. All those muscles, the tight rubber armor, and that flashy car. I heard it can drive up walls.
Yeah, sure, Joel. Hey, what happened to Cozy's?
The arsonist happened. You should have seen the fire. It was fabulous.
Clearly Joel Schumacher.
But this is coming out in 1998, a few months after that fucking awful movie. At least Batman Forever, for all its terribleness, is at least trying to be good at some point. Because that opening scene with Two-Face is really good.
I agree. That's my favorite part of the movie. My favorite part of that film, which is almost redeems the movie, is the "you need help, Harvey."
Yeah.
That exchange.
Yeah.
Holy God.
Yeah.
The familiarity between these two lunatics was so real for me. It brought that comic screamingly to life.
And then Tommy Lee Jones' performance which is understated and subdued in that beginning scene when he's talking to the guy and he's saying, we want to do this and we want to do that. I'm like, you can almost forgive him for not being Billy D. Williams, but
I can't forgive him for not being. And I can't forgive because the rest of the performance is
just awful.
It's just trying to compete with Jim Carrey, and he's just doing the Joker. They're both just doing the Joker.
Yeah, they're both just doing the Joker. And I thought that Tommy Lee Jones could not sanction his buffoonery, and
he's worse.
Because I'm like, dude, you have an Oscar.
Why did you take this role? Why is this? Did nobody get, like, we talked about this last time we were talking about the when they were coming up with the script for Batman Returns. Why didn't he crack a comic book? Harvey Dent is a scary motherfucker. He should have been a dark heart at the center of that movie. Here he's just another cackling villain from the 60s.
I don't think they've ever gotten Harvey Dent quite right. In The Dark Knight, it's pretty close.
But we get 2 seconds of him.
We get 2 seconds of him, and he doesn't evolve into Two-Face. He's just fucked up Harvey Dent getting revenge. And yeah, he's doing the coin, and he's being, murderers and stuff. But Harvey Dent's the district attorney who becomes a crime boss.
Yeah. The appearance that we got in that movie, it's all reactive.
Yeah.
And I want to see what Harvey Dent does from the get-go on screen.
And, robbing the Second National Bank on the 2nd of February. Okay, that's pretty Two-Facey as you can get. That opening scene is great. It even ends with the blimp or the helicopter with the yin-yang painted on it. And it crashes into the Statue of Freedom. Okay. And why are the movies still through the Nolan movies? They all thought Gotham was New York City for some reason or the other. It's always the most important city in the country. I'm like, no, it's New Jersey.
Well, I think we all thought that because I was one of them. But because the city of New York is often referred to as Gotham.
Yeah.
So it's just, naturally, it's an East Coast city, blah, blah, blah. I've always liked the idea that it's Chicago.
Occupies the space of Chicago versus to Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just don't like Gotham City being in the Midwest.
Yeah, there's something about it being landlocked that doesn't suit the Bat.
And in LA.
I also, by the way, do not like the idea that it's like San Francisco and Sacramento, that Gotham.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Metropolis can see each other with binoculars.
Yeah, that was a weird thing that Zack Snyder did among his many weird things. That was really weird.
It was all from convenience.
So one thing I did like is he made Metropolis a district rather than a part of a state. But that's just in the minutia because, sometimes the minutia is better than the movie, but
clearly there.
Yeah. And it was like it was Metropolis MC. Like the district of,
Okay, that is clever. I'll give him that.
Or DM, Metropolis DM, the district of Metropolis, and Gotham was something else. I don't know. But them being over the bay is stupid. Well, then why isn't Superman protecting Gotham?
Exactly. Well, can't Superman protect an area just greater than Metropolis? Like when he's listening to what's happening in China at the moment?
My theory was
America?
That Gotham is basically New Jersey. All of the everything you find in Gotham, you find it in New Jersey to a certain degree.
The refineries and such?
Yeah, and the abandoned amusement miles and like all the fucked up Atlantic City shit. Atlantic City's a dump now, isn't it? It's not like what you saw on TV in the 80s. It's not like,
So is the mythology then that there's Gotham, which is close to New York, which is close to Metropolis?
Yeah. I think Metropolis is in Maryland. In the comic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. See, we're learning here stuff.
And Gotham was New Jersey because New York exists in the comic and in the DC Earth. New York is there. That's where the Titans were based out of when I was a little kid and stuff. But I don't know.
Geography is everything.
The DC Comics Earth is supposed to be a hair bigger than ours.
It would have to be just.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
like it's something in the like in the multiverse. It's bigger than our Earth, which I think is Earth Prime or Earth Zero or whatever the hell it is.
Comic book logic is the best kind of logic.
If you like that kind of stuff, if you like to think that the multiverse and what you exist in, check out anything Grant Morrison has done in DC in like the last 20 years. He did something called the Multiversity, which is just insane. It's just this trip to the multiverse that makes the reader part of the multiverse. So like you're engaging in this. He's all into mysticism and stuff, but it's really interesting. And I'm a big fan of his Batman run. Everybody likes to take from Frank Miller, but my favorite Batman run, aside from what I grew up on, my adult the Grant Morrison stuff is just cool. Because Grant Morrison's comics get you everything. They give you funny, they give you drugged out, they give you weird, they give you hard-boiled, they give you detective, they give you mystic, they give you international, they give you sci. Like he covers everything. To him, Batman's entire comic book run has been Batman's career. So he's had, I may have said in the last episode, he had weird adventures in the 60s. He had a weird adventure, like his adventures are condensed into however old he is in the comics. I think it's 40 something now. That's pretty cool. But going back, everyone likes to borrow Frank Miller because Frank Miller did The Dark Knight Returns, and everybody loves The Dark Knight Returns, especially the creators of this episode.
Clearly. Yeah. And how agog were you when...
I didn't know this was coming.
Yeah. How could any of us predict?
Yeah. And we eventually got a movie based on it, but this was the first time we ever saw The Dark Knight Returns in motion, I guess.
Yeah, animated and of the style. They get so perfectly.
Yeah, it translates really well and almost does it a little better than the comic did to a certain degree because it's fluid. So the comic is real sketchy. Klaus Janson, Frank Miller does the pencils, but Klaus Janson never gets the credit for the art on that. And that, if you've seen Klaus Janson pencil his own ink his own pencils, looks like The Dark Knight Returns. His art looks more like The Dark Knight Returns than Frank Miller does, almost to a certain degree. But
nevertheless, the impact of that book
is huge.
It's monumental.
Everybody borrows from that comic.
I mean, clearly the biggest imitator was Zack Snyder, who just lifted scenes wholesale.
Yeah.
And just showing once again that he had no actual understanding of what any of those scenes meant and their importance. And he just got the mythic part of it and the badassery of it.
I'm just before going off on another bat tangent, and I like a lot of the visual stuff that he does. And I like the longer version of Batman v Superman.
Agreed.
It's a better film, and I like seeing the characters, but I think it gets him fucked up too. His angry Superman and murdery Batman and had they just taken some time away from slow motion and spent a scene or two explaining why Batman is sad when he sees a Robin costume. Because if you explain that a little bit, you'd understand why Batman is not branding people in kind of murdery. Because the whole point of The Dark Knight Returns is Batman quits because Jason Todd got killed by the Joker, which ultimately ended up happening in the comics.
Yeah, that was prescient of the book, right?
And that happened because, The Dark Knight Returns existed. And they had written themselves into a corner. In that reboot of After the Crisis, Jason Todd is just a really obnoxious little character. And he just kind of got to a point that he was going to get himself killed regardless. And they made it a choice to the fans to call in a 900 number. And the fans and I couldn't do it. I wasn't going to ask my mom to let me call a 900 number to vote to see if Robin, I would have gotten if Robin lived or died. And I was sad because I wanted him to live because was he a dead Robin?
Your vote could have counted. No, it was not going to.
But it had Zack Snyder explained how broken up Bruce Wayne was after losing a Robin that he had to retire. And when he came back, it was so bad that he had evolved into a meaner Batman. Might have played a little better, but he wasn't adapting to The Dark Knight Returns. He was doing whatever the fuck he was doing. And this show does it a little better. This show condenses the mutant fight down into a 5-minute sequence with Carrie Kelly, and just hits the highlights and gets the artwork so good. But the best thing, it is the coolest non-Kevin Conroy Batman ever in Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
That voice coming out of that Batman. I don't understand why they didn't cast him when they did the animated movie a few years ago. Peter Weller was great in it. But what the Michael Ironside is still kicking and still sounds like that. He plays Darkseid on Justice League and Superman and is the best. He is the best, but as his Batman.
When I heard Peter Weller's version of this version of Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, because there's a 2-part animated film of The Dark Knight, and I thought, oh man, he's so good. This is almost a perfect older Batman.
Yeah.
And then I heard Michael Ironside's for 5 minutes and thought, this effortlessly doing what Weller was trying to get at.
Yeah.
And nothing against Peter Weller. I mean, he's just being Peter Weller, being Batman. But Michael Ironside's voice just, for that version of Batman, older, meaner, but like, he not only gets that sort of gravelly anger behind the bat, but here's a line from the comic that I always liked but could never hear correctly in my head, which was, rubber bullets, honest. Now, in the comic, he's talking to us.
Yeah, it's part of the voiceover, which the 2-part animated movie, which I think is excellent, but it's not 100% excellent because it doesn't have the fucking voiceover in it. And the voiceover is what makes The Dark Knight Returns almost.
That's why I actually don't recommend the animated film, because I mean, maybe you can enjoy it without that, but to me, it was so integral to that book.
Yeah.
It made us all look at Batman in a different light and understand him much better.
Because the best Batman movie, my favorite Batman movie is Batman Year One, is the animated one, because it's literally that comic book. It looks like the comic book. It sounds like that comic book. It has fucking Walter White playing Commissioner Gordon, and he's amazing in it. And it's got even, what's his name? The guy who played young Commissioner Gordon on Gotham.
Bryan Cranston was in it, right?
Yeah, Bryan Cranston plays Commissioner Gordon, but the guy who plays young Jim Gordon on Gotham. Ben McKenzie.
Ben McKenzie.
Plays Bruce Wayne. Great.
Oh, he was really?
Yeah.
That was a weird one, yeah.
And it's got the voiceover in it. And the fact that it's got the voiceover in it, oh, cool. And I wish that animated Dark Knight.
So the animated Dark Knight, we don't get the rubber bullets honest line at all. So I'm still left hanging. And then Ironside they very smartly have Robin in the Batmobile with him.
Yeah.
That's a change, and a worthy change.
The condensed version of the story, and it's funny because it works.
Because then we don't even need to hear the voiceover. He can just be talking to Robin the entire time. It's a perfect innovation. And like I said, Ironside's delivery of the line made me feel like, yeah, that's exactly how it should sound.
Rubber bullets. Honest.
You can see that smile, the Batman smirk. Batman, there's something that's evolved over the years. Old 50s Batman would smile, and he was, and Adam West was friendly, But now when Batman smiles, it means Batman's being really scary. And you can see, and there's something called the Batman smirk. And it's a subtle smile when Batman's being naughty, like he's enjoying being Batman. This is it. You can see that. You can feel that in his delivery. You can feel Michael Ironside going, rubber bullets. Honest. He's smirking when he says it. And it's a brilliant delivery. My other delivery is my favorite line in The Dark Knight Returns. You don't get it, son.
This isn't a trash heap. It's an operating table. And I'm the surgeon.
And he's not being effective with his voice. He's just talking. Matter-of-factly telling this man what he's about to do to him. It's so menacing. And it's so great. And we would have had more of him. Oh, what a great thing. Kevin Conroy's brilliant and is the best Batman out of all of them. Who's the best Batman? Conroy was the best Batman. But Michael Ironside, pretty good, man. That voice. I feel that Hollywood never understood the brilliance of Michael Ironside, and we were denied a string of awesome revenge pictures and stuff starring him. Because
you're right. He could have been the badass villain at the center of a film that we would totally purchased him as a hero.
Yeah. All you get really is Paul Verhoeven's the only buddy who's like, oh yeah, this guy's fucking great. Because he steals Total Recall. And he steals Starship Troopers.
Absolutely. Do you want to see him steal another movie? Oh, well, certainly that. Certainly Scanners. But there is a terrible sequel to Highlander called Highlander 2.
Oh, yeah. He told me that movie's terrible, but he's so cool with that bullet.
The only one who understands what the actual tone of that movie was. He's great in that. And I like what you're saying about that line, the operating table line, how casual it's delivered, because that's how it would be. And that really is terrifying.
Yeah.
The other line is when he gets out of the Batmobile and
I show you who rules Gotham City. Okay, son. Show me.
And, he's older and he's rotund and he just looks like kind of Santa Claus-ish now without the beard. But then he starts talking.
we're going to have to start an Ironside cast because suddenly the thought of a world without Michael Ironside is very terrifying to me.
And what else does he steal? V. If you guys never saw V, V was his mini series that came out in 1984.
It was horrifying.
And it was about like aliens invading Earth, but they come as your friends, and then there's a twist. And they're very Nazi-like and all that stuff. And it was the coolest TV show a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old could ever seen.
I was 11. It was like the War of the Worlds 1939 broadcast from me, man.
Yeah, it was just the coolest. I had the toy that I found like
Robert Englund is one of the visitors.
Robert Englund is in it, and that they had that hot. This is where I got my thing for evil hot women, because that Diana, their evil, head of the alien SS or whatever the hell she was, this sexy brunette cougar. Oh man!
Did you see when they remade it? Who they recast?
Oh, Morena Baccarin,
who's in Gotham.
Who's in Gotham, and is the only good thing about that show because she was so fine. That remake was awful.
The Gotham TV show?
Oh, the Gotham TV show wasn't great either.
I liked the Gotham.
Do you really?
Yeah, there are elements of that. Look, there's a lot of chaff in that weed.
Yeah, there is. But I like the performances of the Penguin and the Riddler a lot.
That and their sort of homoerotic relationship.
Yeah, I liked that.
Really well handled.
And I liked Alfred.
Alfred is great because of John Pertwee.
We've never had a shitty Alfred. All the Alfreds have been great.
That's true.
Like even the guy in the serial in 1948 was British. He was a butler. The guy in the TV show, Alan Napier. The Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. on the cartoon. Great. Michael Goff. I want Michael Goff to make me sandwiches for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's the most paternal of the Freds we got.
Michael Caine. The only thing I really like about those Nolan movies are Michael Caine and Gary Oldman. And Lucius Fox is pretty good too, but it's Lucius Fox.
Yeah, those movies have their charms.
Yeah. But, and Jeremy was great as Alfred.
And I got to say, Andy Serkis. Oh, my God, he's my new favorite Alfred.
Yeah. It's one thing they always kind of consistently get right. But this Dark Knight Returns bit is so cool. I watched it again, we stole from it in Space Detective a little bit, some of the design element, just of the red and black. We do in my movie Space Detective, you can catch it at spacedetectivemovie.com. and swampmediagroup.com, where my company's located at. There's a remaster coming out soon, but we'll talk about it in a future episode. That kind of duotone, solid red and solid black in the Batmobile, we kind of stole it a little bit in Space Detective because it's so neat, man. It's just to see just those two colors against each other and the dramatic in that Batmobile, that design, which really is a black frame with the instruments coming out of the black frame to create the cockpit. It's really cool.
And the cockpit, which is like on an accordion, basically. So it can stretch and bend in any direction.
You don't really get it's in the comic, but...
No, I think the Batmobile of Dark Knight Returns is just germane to that particular Batmobile. We had never seen anything like it. And I think they've been trying over and over again to replicate it. The Christopher Nolan thing is...
Okay, it's the Batmobile. Any guy that's going to put a Bat logo on his chest, he's going to call his car the Batmobile. I think there's a certain arrested development to it. In the Dark Knight Returns comic, he blames it on Dick, called it the Batmobile. I don't think so. Anybody who puts a Bat logo on his hubcaps is
totally comfortable.
Calling it the Batmobile. I think, you lose your parents at that age. There's going to be a certain arrested development there. I think there's going to be a certain thing with I know for my own case, like I still like a lot of the stuff. I liked it when at the age I lost a parent at 7 or something. There's a certain emotional thing. And I think the 8, 9, 10-year-old that Bruce Wayne was a certain kid in there, He made that choice to be Batman at that age. He didn't come up with that when he was in college or whatever. No, he came up with that when he was a little kid. That's the decision of a little boy. I'm going to grow up and make sure this never happens to anybody again.
But there is a certain amount of wish fulfillment in there. As much as Batman has inspired us to want to be superheroes like that, he's actually doing it. So naturally, this is my Batmobile.
Of course it is. And I can see him saying it kind of offhanded to Alfred, and Alfred rolling his eyes at him and going, okay, it's a Batmobile. But like the relationship we have.
How is the Batmobile doing? Ooh, Batmobile, that's good.
Oh, bloody hell. I imagine that Alfred says, oh, bloody hell a lot.
Yeah.
I think this is a standout of the episode just because it really let this animation and design team really flex their muscles in a way that they hadn't gotten to. And I think the third or fourth season, whatever this season is a little more limiting in the budget. Like you don't get the black paper.
Right.
You get Photoshop painted, or, you get hand drawn, sure, but it's all colored in Photoshop, or it's all very bright sky. It's not a wash of black over red. It's okay, but it definitely looks like Warner Brothers are giving them less money. Even the character designs are a little bit more, have less lines on them.
Yeah, they're a little, which is funny because Bruce Timm's style is so simple. That's why they're so wonderful. But yeah, they're cutting costs everywhere. But in a way, they've just refined the character a little bit.
I prefer some of the designs on this one to the original one. I like the simpleness to it.
I like a Joker with black eyes and green pupils.
I like that part of it, but I don't like him not having red lips. Because Joker
basically has no lips here.
Yeah, the Joker is not, and I know they were trying to go for a skeletal look, but the Joker is not one to go without his makeup, without his lipstick.
What do you think of Batman Beyond's version of the Joker?
It looked cool. I wasn't wild about it being Tim Drake. Like that whole DNA swap thing was just...
Yeah, see, that's why I could never really get into Batman Beyond, because I don't want to deal with after Dark Knight Returns, basically. In the great chronology of Batman stories, let's say it all ends with Dark Knight Returns. I don't want to hear afterwards.
I don't like Batman that isn't Bruce Wayne. I just don't. Because I don't like any superhero that's not the character that I grew up with. I don't like when they swap the secret identity or anything like that. In a film, I don't mind blind casting. So as long as it should make sense.
If it's the guy for the character, the woman for that part.
For example, I'd rather have a black Peter Parker than Miles Morales. And not because of anything other than just, I like that character. The costume is just the costume, but what I like is Bruce Wayne, this little boy that lost his parents. A black guy playing Bruce Wayne, yeah, that'll work. That's fine. I think it would work better if he was mixed race, because the Wayne Fortune is really old. And the Wayne Fortune, I think Grant Morrison may have established this in Gothic, in a Legends of the Dark Knight comic. That's where they got the title for this episode from. In there, where they explained that Bruce Wayne, the Wayne family money is real estate, and they just own Main Street, basically, in Gotham.
Right.
So, everything that's on that street, Bruce Wayne owns the property for it. And that's just their old money. They founded the city, and they've had that money there. They were from Scotland, and they made their money in fur trapping first, and then there was real estate. And his great-grandfather was Solomon Wayne, who was all this stuff works into the Court of Owls and shit. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah, Gotham by Gaslight. So his money's old, but his mom could be black. And, you can do that kind of stuff. I just like it when the character is the character.
You're just a traditionalist. You want...
Yeah.
Superman has to be Jor-El.
Yeah. I don't like another guy, being Kal-El. I don't like being,
Well, who's your favorite Flash, then?
See, it only works with the Flash.
Oh, okay. Because you'll take Barry Allen.
And Wally West. I preferred Wally West because that's who I had growing up.
Right.
But the Flash has been a multi-character since its inception, really, because it's like Jay Garrick debuted in 1940, 1941. Barry Allen debuted in what? 1952, 53, 54. So not a big difference. Wally West became the Flash in the 80s.
There have been so many Hal Jordans.
Yeah, then the Green Lanterns, again, it started with Alan Scott, then it was Hal Jordan, and they just kept adding Green Lanterns. But they've been adding Green Lanterns since the 60s. They added Guy Gardner first. They added then John Stewart, who was the first major black superhero in DC.
And all they keep giving us is Cyborg.
And all they keep giving us is Cyborg. We haven't gotten... John Stewart, I like him I always liked him as a Green Lantern because I like the portrayal of him being like a ex-military guy. And he's that guy.
Yeah.
And everybody needs that guy on the team. And I always thought Hal Jordan was an asshole. It would require somebody really charming to make Hal Jordan work. Hal Jordan and Tony Stark. It was like, I never liked Tony Stark as a character in the comics. I didn't like Tony Stark as a character until Robert Downey Jr. played him.
Right. Because then it was, you could feel he was on your side and joking with you as opposed to just a drunk asshole.
Which was, and Ryan Reynolds just, as Hal Jordan, just made that jock that picked on you in high school.
That's true.
And that didn't work. Hal Jordan should have been like, Tom Cruise would be a great Hal Jordan.
Yes.
You know?
What we got was Hal Jordan, the bro.
Yeah, and it doesn't work.
Hal Jordan is not a bro.
Hopefully in the new show that's coming out, they just announced this last week and they've got a Damon Lindelof is the showrunner.
That's what I hear.
Wow. That's going to be neat.
So, yeah, positive things occurring over in DC these days. I'm actually kind of excited for DC.
And it's Hal and John.
Right.
It's a cop show, basically.
Yo, there's a core out there.
Really neat, man. I'm pretty excited about that. I like James Gunn's stuff. I like the Guardians. He made me care about characters that I shouldn't have cared about. He made that fucking raccoon work. I was just like, this isn't going to work. This is stupid. A fucking raccoon. I was on that page and I saw that movie. I'm like, holy shit. That raccoon is the most charming thing since Gotham. That thing is amazing.
And now he's a major character in the Marvel Universe, whereas...
Yeah, when I was a kid, there was a miniseries, Rocket Raccoon. It was a 4-issue miniseries, and that was all I knew about him. And the Guardians were the lame Legion of Superheroes.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output, and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
It was literally the same thing. They were 30th century superheroes. One guy had Captain America's shield for some reason, and Yondu was on the team, and it was just terrible. Legion of Superheroes were awesome. Teenage superheroes in the 30th century, you can't go wrong with that, but the Guardians of the Galaxy were terrible, and man, James Gunn made them work. I know the lady who wrote the first draft too, Nicole Perlman. She wrote that in a writer's lab at Marvel.
Yeah, I understand it was, they said, what do you want to do? And she said, Guardians of the Galaxy. And they said, that's interesting. And then from the various iterations of the Guardians through the years, she picked who that team should be.
Yeah.
And now in everyone's mind, that's the team.
That's the team. But James Gunn is a solid movie director, and he is a solid joke writer. He's a solid joke writer, and he knows how to write jokes into heart. And that's what really sold that picture.
The heart of it.
Yeah, he put that heart in there with those jokes, and man, Star Wars works, man. It's because those characters are bickering the entire time, but they all really like each other. They even in the first one where they all hate each other, they clearly enjoy each other's company.
Right.
When they're escaping the Death Star. The chemistry is wonderful, and James Gunn really latched onto that. I have high hopes for Superman. I don't like that costume.
No?
I don't like the collar. I'm fine with the costume, but I don't like collar Superman.
I imagine what we've seen so far is not what we're actually getting.
That's good. I like the wide open where you can see his neck. I think a high collar makes him look fascist.
Here's my prediction. Martha makes him an outfit. He gets a Kryptonian outfit. The Kryptonian outfit gets fucked up. He puts on Mom's outfit for the finale.
I hope that's the case. What I do like, though, is it's got the shorts.
Thank God those shorts are back.
Yeah. It looks
a weird unitard thing going on.
Weird
they
unitard.
Look like Mystique or something.
Yeah, I don't like it. And it's just, oh, look, it's super junk. At least the short covers the junk a little bit.
Yeah, it feels more like a costume rather than a skin.
And can't just the Kryptonians be tacky dressers?
Yeah,
Like,
I like. We'll go back to the Donner movie. Like, I'll take him in those robes.
I think I responded on a thread, and James Gunn liked it. It made my day. But like, he was talking, it was the debate on the shorts, and I go, can't the Kryptonians just be a caped wearing shorts on the outside type of society? That's just what the way they dress. That's just they're fucking things.
Now, okay, let's bring it back to the fucking episode.
Yeah,
because the third. It's magnificent. The Dark Knight Returns stuff is all magnificent. We get to our third story here, which is just the story of these kids happening upon a crime and then the actual Batman saving them. So they are now the protagonist of their own story. Now, the villain of this, whose design I fucking loved in this character.
So basic. It's perfect, man.
Just random shapes.
Yeah.
And here's Firefly. Firefly never gets enough airtime or airplay. They did a pretty good one on Gotham, actually. But
they do a really good episode with him on this series, though.
Oh yeah, here in the anime.
Yeah, where he's a special effects guy, and his girlfriend breaks as a pop star, and he's doing all the special effects for her, and she dumps him or something, and he goes ape shit.
Right. I just meant live action wise, because the recent shelving of Batgirl because Brendan Fraser was playing Firefly in that one, so now we don't even get to see that.
I think that movie probably had really good performances in it and wasn't very good.
I bet it was garbage.
Yeah.
But I still want to see it.
Yeah. I heard it looked like I heard from people who are around, that may have seen a cut or something like that. They look like a CW show.
It's about time that I think studios figure out that we'll give anything a chance.
Yeah.
Comic book fans.
Basically, yeah. But the problem is that's also a problem because then they just give you anything and they don't put a lot of effort into it.
Right, but then we're voting with our views and dollars.
Yeah.
So the ones that are not quality are going to fall away.
Now, as comic book fans, maybe they'll give anything a chance, but unless it comes out of Sony, because none of those, every one of those movies tanks. I don't know why they keep making. I guess
the Venom movies are making money. They hold on to that.
Yeah,
trend. They got to keep making the movies so they can keep their copyright going, so they can keep printing money.
I fracture my. I'll do background work every now and then. Fun. I'm always busy editing and shit. I don't get a lot of time to socialize. It's like a background gig. I'll could spend the day, make $200. Maybe I'll meet some nice girls. I did background a day on Venom. I can't say anything because I signed an NDA. And it's just he's an arsonist, but a Gotham City arsonists have jetpacks.
And this one, Firefly, they get him so right on the cartoon. When he sees the kids in the audience and he says, "Oops. Oh, tough luck. We're not going to come and help you." The charges are set, kids. You just shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, just apathetic and not too bright. And he's a cool Batman villain.
Good pinch. Good for a connecting scene.
Yeah, in the last episode, I said he's not getting invited to the Joker and Penguin's card game. The Penguin would hire him, though.
Right, of course.
And the comics tend to do this really well now, where the villains just don't all end up in Gotham at the end of the issue. They have lives.
Right.
They're just not caught. You've got to get charges to stick,
C-listers got to be guns for hire, basically. Bring him on in.
But when you do that, you get something like Kite Man, who ended up being a breakout on the cartoon show with Harley, but only because he was a breakout in the comics. Because Tom King used him as a C-lister. I'm just going to work him into the story. And so it does work, too.
It certainly worked in that cartoon. And we haven't really mentioned the Harley Quinn cartoon, which is probably was from the Snyder era of the DCU, was to me the best thing that came out.
Yeah, it's silly and it does its own thing with the mythology but it's from her perspective. It's from Harley's perspective.
Who is a lunatic. Let's not forget.
Who's a crazy lunatic. But they get the personalities, since they're funny, they get everybody's personality really well.
Almost perfectly in some cases.
So everybody's comedically, when the Lex Luthor shows up, Lex Luthor's a narcissist. He's a comedically so on this. So you can see really the core of the personality come out. And the Joker really at his heart is an asshole who thinks he's funny.
The worst kind of human to be around.
Yeah. He's and Alan Tudyk is great as the Joker. He's funny. And seeing the Joker call somebody an asshole is great.
Yeah, that's they finally
curse.
Finally got cursing in the Batman universe, but because it's a joke, they can get away with it.
Yeah, and the Penguin is played by Newman from Seinfeld.
That's right. There's a bar mitzvah episode.
Yeah. So like the Penguin having to go to his kid's or his nephew's bar mitzvah is something that is real.
Right.
You just absolutely know happened in real life. Yeah. Or the fact that the Riddler is a total queen, but is really sweet because he gets in a relationship with the Clock King, and they get married.
Those two make sense, man.
And it was fucking great, man. So if you like Batman animated shows like we've been discussing, do yourself a favor, check out Harley Quinn. Know that it's a sitcom, and now Dietrich Bader as Batman.
As what?
As Batman.
Oh, Dietrich Bader. Yeah, exactly. Just thank God for that character.
My favorite is when they introduce Robin, and it's Damian, but he's the new Robin, and he's 9, and it's a little boy doing the voice.
Yes.
And whenever Robin shows up, they can't fight him because he's so adorable.
It's the perfect portrayal of Damian.
Yeah, it's really well done. I like how it ends with the Firefly in the comic. Bruce Wayne, like I said, just jumps out of the shadows dressed up as Batman. I think Batman looks like this, and it's lame. This the kids seeing Batman, and
they get to see Batman doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then his interaction with them is just, I'm not cuddly, kids.
Yeah.
You need to get the fuck out of here because shit's on fire.
Yeah. But the kids still walk off all super impressed.
Because what could be better?
Yeah.
I one time, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I've mentioned Harlan Ellison. He's my favorite author of all time. Harlan had his phone number in the phone book. He was not shy about people contacting him. So I called on the first phone. I had got my first phone line in Los Angeles, and my first phone call, I'm going to call Harlan Ellison. And it rang and rang. And then finally the receiver was snatched up, and he just yelled. And I hung up very scared, but was so elated because to me, it was almost the perfect interaction with the man.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't ask for that.
Yeah, that's like meeting Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Batman.
Yeah.
But can you imagine being a little, 12-year-old kid and talking about, only hearing about your urban legend in the town you live in and then seeing him?
But acting as he should. Whatever your preconceived notion of him, in my case, I knew Harlan Ellison was going to yell at me for calling him at home because I had no reason to do so other than to say, I love you. So, but, if my version of Batman is the jokey one or the super ultra, who's still nice to Robin.
Yeah.
Every version of this Batman we're getting, he's the friendly Batman. To get the Batman who's not fucking about would be elating to me because that was a version I wasn't even thinking of clearly.
There is a thing about Batman that people, again, the movie makers don't quite get. They almost get. There's always little flashes of it, but for the most part, Bat only trusts two kinds of people. Older men with mustaches, Commissioner Gordon, Lucius Fox, Alfred Pennyworth, and little kids. He trusts little kids because little kids are not corrupted, they're innocent, and he stopped aging to a certain degree. He is the best dad that you can probably hope for, even though he's going to put you in danger and probably get you killed. But he will get you resurrected.
At the very least.
At the very least, one of his villains will get you back to life. But he's, there's a certain dad element to him. And he's been with a kid sidekick. It's 1940. You can't separate that. And the one thing, again, I like in Batman Begins, when there's a little kid there and he gives him one of his gadgets. It's a small interaction and it's nice. I don't like Christian Bale as Batman because he's yelling the whole time. But
bellowing.
Yeah. Batman talks like Clint Eastwood. God, read a comic book. Anyways, I like him with the little kids. And it worked, and it's like Batman's a character that you can trust around kids. It's like an adult that Batman's not going to be a bad influence on him other than, taking him to fight crime. Superman's another character, like Superman interacting with children, Wonder Woman interacting with children. You need that. These characters need that, And I don't think the movies ever really truly get that right. We haven't had a good Batman and Robin other than Adam West.
It's an excellent point because the thing about DC and DC fans are they tend to be sort of in the basic overview, the dark versus Marvel's light.
Yeah.
The characters of DC are always a little more tortured. Where they're coming from is a little more human in a way. Or not more human, because the Marvel is sort of everyday sort of man and woman, but certainly our origin stories tend to be a little darker in DC.
Well, yeah, the origin stories are all very, and I don't know if this was intentional. I don't think it was intentional. I think this is what they tapped into. Maybe it's the time period, because a lot of these characters are coming from the 40s, a world where there are supervillains.
Right, certainly. They're seeing them in action.
And they're doing awful things. But yeah, they kind of start with a little bit. Batman and Superman start with tragedy. Wonder Woman's has been retconned to have a little bit of tragedy into it, or being Zeus's daughter automatically makes things complicated.
Yeah, you're going to have some problems growing up.
But the DC characters are always larger than life. They're big gods and stuff.
My point is that they actually, what you're saying about their interactions with children are actually necessary.
Yeah.
To balance that out.
Because then otherwise you get, I don't want to poop on Zack Snyder, because again, I love his stuff, but his movies are too dark. These are children's characters. At the end of the day, you met these characters when you were a little kid, and you should be able to make sure, that a kid should be able to enjoy. I don't know. Marvel, I always saw as a soap opera. Everybody was very human, very flawed. Whereas and they don't have kid sidekicks. See, on the other hand, they're like these godlike characters, very parental. They all have kid sidekicks, and they all come from dark places, very fairy tale in a lot of their origins. Fairy tales always start terrible. Every kid.
Right. You got to get lost in the woods.
It's like Disney movies. It always starts with there's a dead mother.
Right.
Or something like that. And I think you get that in those at least in the big three.
Certainly.
Wonder Woman is on an island with no men or whatever, and she's a child of a god and stuff. But the Amazons are there because they're all like the souls of abused women. That's what the Amazons in the DC comics are. At the very least, that approach is when all of the Amazons are descended, or they're the spirits of, or whatever, women that were raped and murdered and all that stuff. Hippolyta was raped and murdered by Hercules.
Right.
The physical Amazons.
Yeah.
These are the mystical Amazons that have been resurrected as from the spirits, yada. So Paradise Island has this mystical background that's rooted in tragedy.
So the thing is, it's easy to lean into all of it.
Yeah, it's very easy.
It's not in any way innovative that you come along and go, let's take this darkness and turn the lights down. Congratulations.
No.
I've made it more realistic and more downer.
That's the point.
Where we all live.
Yeah.
And that's what we get from Gotham. Like, we're all living in Gotham.
Yeah.
I need to see Superman fly by every once in a while and inspire me,
Yeah, I saw a clip from Superman 4 online the other day. Terrible film. Except there's got to see a Superman in a classroom with a bunch of kids. It's got Superman taking that kid, and he's got a bunch of kids running behind him, and he's got his arms around one. You asked me to get rid of nuclear weapons, Timmy, I'm going to go do that. Well, yeah, you're Superman. You're supposed to do that. The little kid, that's the whole point. I think there's a great description about DC versus Marvel that I always thought was really interesting, is that Marvel is the heroes in our world, but in DC, we're going to their world.
I think that's very fair. Yeah. Yeah. As much as fantastical as Marvel can get, it takes place here and now.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily going to...
What's the world outside your window?
Yeah. I mean, Captain America fought in World War II, everybody.
And much to the movie's attempt to blur that, he did kill a lot of Nazis. I don't know why that movie erases the Nazis, but...
Yeah, they went straight to Hydra. Yeah.
So I think the rise of neo-fascism in the United States has a lot to do with the fact that there was an edict of no more cartoon Nazis after Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan and brilliant historical things.
Right.
But there was no more cartoon villain Nazis, and I think that extended into Captain America. And I think had the Red Skull been running around with a swastika on his arm and everybody going Heil Hitler in it, we probably wouldn't have had... they will not replace us. We might not have had that.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in an era, a Nazi was a go-to bad guy, and they reminded you every couple of years, some superhero or some action guy was beating the shit out of one of these scumbags, or Mel Brooks was making fun of them. And I think where you take a point where you have to, they're very serious. You gotta lampoon them. You gotta make them cartoon villains because people gotta understand how awful these folks are. Anyways, that's just me. I'm being mad that Chris Evans didn't punch the actual Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, we got the cartoon version of it.
I don't know. So like the MCU is great, but I think they fucked that up, and that's too bad because if somebody would have had a good cartoon Nazi villains, it would have been Joe Johnston, and I'm sure he argued for it because the Rocketeer has got some great Nazi villains in it.
Timothy Dalton.
Yes,
my God,
that's great.
He can be charming as
yes. Oh yeah. Hey, and as you know, going back to Batman, there's a great Batman Captain America crossover from maybe 25, 30 years ago. John Byrne did it. And it's set in the 40s. And the Joker teams up with the Red Skull, and the Joker finds out that the Red Skull's a Nazi. He's like, you're Nazi. Hey, I may be a psychopathic criminal, but I'm an American psychopathic criminal. And then he punches him. Just like that.
I remember that issue very well.
And even the Joker draws the line of fucking Nazis. But this episode is cool, man. I think this is an episode that when I watched it, I wanted to immediately rewatch it. I wanted to really ingest it and really enjoy it because getting to see Batman is just not like when seeing Batman adapted, you rarely get to see on screen what makes him so great. And I'm not talking even story-wise. And nobody gets it right 100% story-wise other than this cartoon. But to see the visual influence come to life, the important visual stuff that in the comic book, what got the kids in 1950 to still think Batman was somewhat relevant, even though, he had lost his relevancy a little bit in that decade, to make the producers of the TV show, William Dozier and his team, what they looked at was those big Sprang comic books, that art style, that very exaggerated Bill Finger and his giant typewriters, as I like to say a lot, big piano machines and giant props to work Batman, death traps and stuff. That's direct influence. That's important. The Dark Knight Returns, Zack Snyder bit a lot off of it, but the Burton movie wouldn't exist without it. That Burton movie, The Dark Knight Returns, showed Warner Brothers, hey, this Batman could be for anybody. We could probably make a bunch of money with this guy.
I said it earlier, I'll say it again. The influence of Dark Knight Returns cannot be estimated in the Batman that we have today, in the varied forms of Batman.
The fact that Batman's got machine guns on the Batmobile in every movie is because of the Dark Knight Returns, so it doesn't have a positive influence.
Just the darker suit.
Yeah.
Just the darker tone. Just that. I don't think there's an analog. It's not one for one. The Burton film, it visually owes nothing to the comic book. What it does owe is the freeing up to make it as dark as they made.
Yeah. So even visually, the comics were influenced by the Dark Knight Returns, to the point that Batman had the yellow oval on his suit. And the reason why he has a yellow thing in his middle of his chest was in the 60s, they wanted to trademark the Batman logo. And they couldn't just trademark the bat that's on his chest. Because there was a million other things, like Bacardi rum looks like Batman logo. But if you put it in a yellow circle, you could trademark it. So it was there. And in The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's, it's a target that Batman puts on his chest.
Can't armor my head.
Can't armor his head, which, according to Zack Snyder, you can. And then once that suit gets messed up, he goes back to his original costume with the big old bat on it. But the comics eventually went to the big old bat. Within a few years, the big old bat was on his chest.
That is true. That's this one right.
This
is from the 39 one,
Yeah,
What
I have on my arm, too.
Co-host just discovered that they both have a bat tattoo from the same fucking era.
Yeah. So the Dark Knight Returns influence is huge. And it just didn't influence Batman. It influenced the entire industry because it was the book that broke the industry into the mainstream. It was the book that people go, oh, comics are for kids, are for grown-up, aren't for just for kids. It's the book that made it. People go, comics aren't just for kids anymore. They're for grown-ups. Everybody can enjoy them.
More so than Watchmen. I know Watchmen was more literary, and I think that turned on a whole other segment of the population.
Sure.
But the comic book that made it real is the fact that Batman was now in his 50s and had a deeper complexity than we had ever really considered, and made us examine the character in ways that, look, the comics had given us all these different versions of them over the years, but this one really opened it up for people to go, oh, this is for me too.
This book, The Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen wasn't getting written up in Rolling Stone in 1986. Dark Knight Returns is in fucking Rolling Stone, meaning The Dark Knight Returns was okay for college people and 20-somethings. The Dark Knight Returns, oh, this comic book is cool. And you know how cool it is because it's the only comic book Zack Snyder's ever read. Okay, he read 300.
He looked at the Dave Gibbons sheets for Watchmen. I don't think he read the story.
Well, no, I don't think he looked at the art. That's one thing about Watchmen. What I was just kind of weird is I like the fact that he did the movie universe version of Watchmen. So like it exists in the same kind of movie universe of every superhero movie that came out after the Burton Batman, where we had rubber costumes and mascara on their faces and stuff. And then the comic, the Watchmen costumes are very kind of homemade looking almost.
Yeah, definitely.
The TV show did a nice job interpreting those costumes. And, you know, we talk shit about Zack Snyder, but I love Zack Snyder. And I wish he would make more stuff like 300 again, because I think that's his best. That movie is amazing. I can watch 300 over and over again. And you got to understand it. It's this and that or whatever, but it's told from the perspective of the Greeks. From the Greeks, it's propaganda piece. So like,
100%.
It's supposed to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's racist, but it's supposed to be like that.
Everything that wasn't Greece was foreign and monstrous.
Yeah. That was the whole point. But it's a beautiful film.
Absolutely.
This isn't developing a TV show.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
It should be just a little piece of art that you see briefly.
That sequel didn't exist.
And don't take it as history.
No, read a book for history.
These are fiction, everybody.
Yeah, these are fiction. So I don't want to do all of Zack Snyder stuff. No, I like him as a filmmaker. I wish he would do more stuff like that.
I love 300, and I'm one of the fans of Watchmen.
No, me too. I love that Watchmen. I've seen it a bunch of times.
I think he should have hired older actors to play the older characters instead of putting them in the fucking terrible makeup. Like, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, I would have done the 2-actor thing too. There's no shame in casting a 16, because a 16-year-old comedian is what the 16-year-old comedian does.
Yeah.
Unexpected because he's a kid.
Right.
And this is Jeffrey Dean Morgan doing it. And like, okay, well, I expect him to be rapey.
Even his makeup at the beginning is iffy as fuck.
It's iffy, yeah. He's great, though.
Oh, my God. He's the perfect guy for the...
He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But could you imagine, you know, like, they actually had some 65-year-old guy playing him, though?
It would be great.
Yeah. Because you know, they had like Bruce Willis or something at that, you know, in 2009 playing that part, like an old man, you know, older guy.
Oh, well, yeah, that kind of would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Shit.
But it was...
I see that you've cast this in your head.
Yeah. I read Tom Cruise that was who he wanted for Ozymandias.
That would have been the perfect guy.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise?
And I love Matthew Good. I'm the president of the Matthew Good film fan club, man. I want to cast that dude as a villain in something because he is spectacular as Ozymandias, and he's even better as Bob Evans on that Godfather, The Offer show on Paramount. It doesn't... I'm not wild about the casting on Coppola.
Oh, yeah. It's what's his name?
Is it Josh Gad?
No, it's the other one.
It's the other guy.
Balls of Fury guy.
Balls of Fury guy, because the Balls of Fury guy is like short like the Penguin. I should have been playing Coppola because Coppola is like 6 feet tall and is a bear of a man. And is, you know what I mean?
Yes, the intimidation is not there with this guy.
Yeah.
He's just another Puzo.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no way that Miles Teller would have intimidated me. There's no way that Al Ruddy could have intimidated the real Coppola. Coppola would have just been like, fuck you. I'm going to have a glass of wine, smoke a joint, have some spaghetti, and you can kiss my ass.
Yeah, I'm back to San Francisco with me.
To San Francisco with me, fuck you. No,
I'm under a deadline.
No, he's not. Coppola, man. Coppola still got it, man.
Yeah.
Yes. I wouldn't have mind seeing Coppola do a Batman movie, though. That would have been something else.
I'd like to Coppola do, yes, his version.
Yeah.
Just whatever you want. No studio notes.
Yeah.
Just here.
Well, you know, he made Dracula, and that Dracula, despite some of the weird casting in it, that movie is cool.
One of the studios wants to be really fucking pushed, because I think we've reached the point where we've gotten the traditional superhero storytelling cinematically these days. If someone wants to have a fucking fun time, I would do exactly that. I would call Guillermo del Toro and go, what character do you want? Go ahead. We're not trying to make a joined universe right now.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. You know, if we get there at all. I just want to see Swamp Thing be Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
If Batman exists, if Gotham is there, sure. And I know, you know, Constantine exists there too in the Swamp Thing universe. He's from the Swamp Thing universe. But for fuck's sake, could I just spend some time in the swamp and not worry about what's going on in the rest of the world?
Yeah,
let's do these one-off kind of tales.
Like James Mangold, they had a lot of success with Logan doing that. I don't think Logan is as great as everybody made it out to be, but it's pretty good.
It's at least taking
brave.
Something new, yeah.
You know, the Joker, that Joker movie too, like it was trying to doing its own. Whether you think it's successful or not is neither here or there. But, you know, I think it plays pretty well.
I do not. I hate that movie.
Yeah.
But exactly what I'm saying, I like that it's out there. I like that they said, yeah, you go ahead. It's not going to fuck up the timeline in people's minds. It's always been the fucking problem with the studios is, well, everyone's going to be so confused if we have two different Batman properties out there. You know, the Arrowverse had a version of the Suicide Squad that they had built over seasons that they had to stop doing
because of the movie,
because there's a movie coming out. We don't want anybody getting the wrong idea.
I mean, you can tell it's two different. Yeah, this whole shared universe thing has gotten out of hand. Marvel did it great, and then everybody tried to do it again, and just
if you don't have a plan from the beginning where it's all going right now, don't just tell the story of that character.
Yeah.
That's all we really need.
I actually think planning the universes ahead of time hurt everybody. Because they're like, okay, we're going to build this movie, and then we'll get to the real popular villain in the sequel. Just expect a real popular villain. Make the movie, and if it works, have that in your back pocket, but make your contained story. I think Iron Man pulled that off really well.
Yeah. Well, they came up with a villain. A hero most people barely knew, and a villain people both barely knew. But here's the thing. I agree with you.
Iron Man also had no interesting villains.
Right. If it's your first Batman movie, might as well go up against the Joker.
Yeah.
It's going to come up, and it doesn't. We don't need to build to it. It's not necessary as fans. But at the same time, just don't kill them at the end.
Yeah, I never understood that. And that they did that, and that's all from the Burton movie. That's because they just knew they could never afford Nicholson again.
I'm assuming, but it makes no sense that they would kill the Catwoman, although they, at the last second, threw her back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Harvey Dent dies in the Joel Schumacher one at the end, and Riddler he's insane, so he can't reveal who Batman is.
Yeah, it's just, I think that's 80s Hollywood movie writing.
The villain dies at the end.
The villain dies at the end.
That's the only way we can have some sort of satisfying climax is for our villain to remain slain.
You know, because how many times in Bond movies, they just kept recasting Blofeld.
Oh, yeah. Who do we need? Who do we like?
Yeah.
Who isn't pissing us off?
Yeah, that's funny.
With them.
They just didn't fucking care. But that was also before, you know, the home video market or anything like that, where people, if they saw the movie again, they had to go to the movie theater and go back and watch it on a re-release. So maybe there wasn't that.
Yeah, so they're not going to really notice that Maude Adams had previously been a Bond girl when she shows up as Octopus.
Yeah. But nobody gives a shit that you know, Don Cheadle became Rhodey.
Not at all.
No. And the funny thing is the other guy gave a better performance.
Terrence Howard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Terrence Howard tried. Because we all know what a spectacular actor Don Cheadle is.
Oh, yeah.
And Don Cheadle's just like, I got my paycheck, I got my money, fuck it. He's phoning it in. It's a Marvel movie, I don't give a shit.
It does seem that way.
Terrence Howard, it's a Marvel movie, I give a shit. I feel bad for Terrence Howard. I don't understand that gossip. I don't know who, I don't care.
It's all very sketchy.
It's all sketchy. I'm sorry you didn't get cast in the second one.
Yeah.
You know, take the pay cut, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't.
Shouldn't get a pay cut.
He shouldn't get a pay cut.
That's
I don't believe that he got paid more money, though, in the first movie than.
That basically he was on par with Robert Downey.
Yeah, he said. Well, I was saying that he was getting paid more.
Well, that might have been the case just because there was, you know, no guarantee about Downey Jr. at that point.
Yeah.
Right? People were still nervous about him, even though he'd been doing good work for the previous decade. Kiss Bang.
Kiss Bang is still his best movie.
Fucking great movie.
Isn't that a great movie? Everything about that picture is just original and fresh and real, even and kind of hilarious because they keep calling Robert Downey Jr. a kid in it. And I'm like, well, come on, Gay Perry.
Oh, it's fantastic. The movie beginning to end. No, you would find the word stupid, which is what you are.
Just and Val Kilmer was, I guess, his last hurrah.
Yeah, pretty much. Good one to go out on.
Yeah, such a great picture. Shane Black's doing Doc Savage.
He's been clamoring.
No, he's doing it with The Rock. And they just did a press conference like 2 days ago.
Well, The Rock, huh?
He is bronze.
He is bronze.
Are they going to put him in a blonde wig?
I hope so.
Better. With that widow's
I can't imagine Shane Black will do anything but 60s.
He's a big Doc Savage guy, huh?
Oh, yeah. I know he's a fan of the books and has been trying to get that movie made since the 80s, I think.
With Schwarzenegger a long time was attached to it. Even Dolph Lundgren kind of is Doc Savage in real life a little bit.
He is in real life, but he wouldn't.
He can't act.
He can't act.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
he's beautiful.
Well, I mean, he's like a perfect human specimen, and he's like a super fucking genius. And
so maybe the acting doesn't need to be at the height.
But yeah, I guess The Rock. I don't know. Can The Rock play some more? Actually, Dave Bautista's.
I mean, if you tell us he's smart, we'll believe. If you tell us he's smart, we'll believe it.
If the writing, he can read.
It's fucking Shane Black. I'm not gonna not see it.
The Rock can act. I mean, his whole personality's an act.
That's true.
But let's wrap up out here on the Batman shit.
Any final thoughts on Legends of the Dark Knight?
It's got the best episode title out of the entire series. Only because Legends of the Dark Knight was low-key my favorite comic run when I was in high school. It was an anthology comic, 5-issue arcs, generally, out of continuity. Originally, it was meant to be in Batman's early days. They were meant to be young Batman stories, but they really just ended up being out of continuity, just Batman stories.
Anyone shows up with a great Batman idea, go do it.
And in Legends of the Dark Knight, you got Faces, I think, the Two-Face story from Matt Wagner. You got Prey, which was an update of the Hugo Strange interaction with Batman. Hugo Strange dresses up like Batman. Paul Galassi art, gorgeous. You got Grant Morrison's Gothic, which is really good. It revealed that Bruce Wayne may have gotten diddled by a priest when he was a kid, or went to a school that had, some handsy.
Yikes.
Yeah. And where Venom was introduced is a story where Bruce Wayne gets addicted to the super steroid Venom.
Oh.
And has to go into basically rehab. But rehab for Bruce Wayne was take the Batman mask off and the cape off and then go lock yourself in the cave for 3 months to detox. And he came out with a big old beard and skinny. And he's like, all right, I'm ready to fight crime again. But the Venom eventually evolved into
what Bane?
Yeah.
Bane is powered by.
Especially that early run, Legends of the Dark Knight. If you're a fan of comics and Batman, seek it out. It's really cool. I'm sure you can get it on the DC app. So I love the title. I love the art styles and the respect to the history of Batman a lot. I love the fact that it's a reminder that little kids love this character, and dark movies that kids can't go watch. Maybe you should make them a Batman movie that they can go watch. I'm okay for a dark R-rated Batman movie. I want that. But I want to make sure my nephew Dave has a Batman movie with Robin and the Batmobile and Ace the Bat Hound and Mr. Freeze in it. You know what I mean? Something for him to enjoy as well. You're absolutely right. I think we can have 2 Batman movies. Because why? People love that shit. One every other year. Who cares?
Yeah. Fuck the timelines. Who
cares?
I want to see every Batman.
Although I'm surprised that they're not making the Robert Pattinson is the young version of whatever the James Gunn is. Okay.
Well, they're going Brave and Bold.
Yeah.
And with Damian Wayne.
Yeah. So I wonder, I don't know, what I think I should cast in that?
John Hamm. Too old now, but he's got a kid now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
they should cast
John Hamm is 50, so I mean,
cast Diedrich Bonner.
Right. You're gonna look at me with a raised eyebrow. Chris Hemsworth.
Oh no, I could totally see him as.
Have you seen that last movie of his, that Netflix, The Extractor 2?
I have not.
They're out of control action movies, right? But he's teamed up with a little kid in it, in the second one. And the chemistry's great.
I'm sure he.
Hey, one of them, he's a young dad with like kids and shit. And that Thor movie isn't very good.
No.
That last one, but he's good with the kid.
He's great. That's his kid?
That's his kid.
Yeah.
So I think Chris Hemsworth is physically, obviously,
yeah,
dye his hair and
costume work there.
Yeah. Now, no padded muscles needed.
Yeah.
But the fact that I know he can play serious, because in those action movies is fine, but he's good with kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looks the part, and he's got the right level of name, and plus, what great press. We stole Thor. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. Now, let me bring it back again, because here's an idea. Let's get a Batman movie that's a fucking anthology.
That would be nice.
Where you could have any actors you want in any style you want for any story you want. But throw that out there. I mean, we get those as animated things from time to time, and we've gotten them here, and those are wonderful. Yeah. But let's see somebody.
There's an animated anthology movie from around the Chris Nolan time, Shadow of the Bat.
Yes.
Which is an anthology of anime which is okay. Some of them are better than others. I don't know how well Batman translates to anime. It's kind of a weird.
It's very off-putting.
Like Batman Ninja is cracked the fuck out.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Right.
I like the Batman and Ninja Turtles more though.
Yeah, no, certainly. That was a great one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
There's so many good Batmans. Give us an anthology, Batman.
That'd be fun.
And you've been listening now to Midnight Viewing Anthologies Attack. This is going to be the end of this episode. I don't know what our next topic is, but in 2 weeks, you'll all know. Our Patreon subscribers are going to know a week early.
Until then.
Where can people find you, Antonio, if they're looking for you?
Well, we'll be back here, same back time, same back channel. No, you can find my work over at swampmeat.com, and you can watch my movie at spacedetectivemovie.com, the only place you can watch it right now there. And please enjoy. It's kind of weird. Have a cocktail or something. If you have legal cannabis in your state, enjoy some of that. It's a weird kind of animated thing.
It's fucking great is what it is.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, man, of course. And as for me, check out all of our stuff at weirdingwaymedia.com, including my radio drama, Dark Destinations. And, check out Night Mr. Walters. That's HP's podcast about the TV series Taxi that I co-host. Until next time.
See? He was just like I said. What are you talking about? Did you see the way he fought? Yeah, but he also had that phone thing. And when he flew away at the end, I'm telling you, he's not human.
Get off it. He's human.
I don't know. I thought I saw fangs.
Midnight Viewing Anthologies Attack is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Our theme song was composed by HP. If you want to hear these episodes early and commercial-free, go to patreon.com/FatherMalone. Membership will also get you exclusive bonus content not available in the regular stream. But if you just like the show and want to help, please share with your friends and give us a 5-star rating on your podcatcher of choice. Till next time.